That's good, that's good.
Alrighty, y'all. We are now ready for our next run that is on the marathon schedule. That is Devil May Cry 5, New Game Human by DECosmic over here. And by the way, as I learned from last run, he is the leading forefront medical professional on the anatomy of Leviathan. So give it up for here as he starts off with Devil May Cry 5. Take it away, guys.
My name is DECosmic, and this is Devil May Cry 5, New Game Human. I am joined by my wonderful friends. Please introduce yourselves. I'm going to have to...
Hey there, I'm Demonic Robots.
And I'm Waifu.
Waifu just pulled off a sick DMC3 run, so give it up for him. I guess we'll just start the countdown. We'll get on into it. In 3, 2, 1... go. Devil May Cry. So Devil May Cry 5 starts off with the squad of Devil May Cry, Nero, Dante, and a new character called V, along with Lady and Trish from the previous games. They're kind of getting washed by the Demon King. Nero had his arms stolen. It's not a really good time, but starting things off, you're going to notice that Nero actually has a sword with a motorcycle engine in it. And you can manually rev this engine as well as hitting a button called Exceed with the timing of your sword swings in order to immediately get instant revs. And this not only increases your attack speed, but also increases the damage that you deal. All that fun stuff. And we're also going to be getting throughout this run, like in Devil May Cry 3, these things called red orbs. However, in this game, they're going to be really, really important. We're going to be buying a lot of stuff. It's going to be great. These enemies are called the Impulses. They're kind of the trash mobs of this game. We're just working our way up to the fight with the Demon King, Urizen. He's Dante's reason for living. That's why his name's Urizen. Don't worry about it. So, the green orb there restores your health. All these enemies here, we don't care about them. This game introduced air taunting with Devil May Cry 5. You can ride on your sword like a surfboard, where he says, "Let's get airborne, riding high." So if y'all want to get airborne and ride high, let me know. This fight here, you can technically defeat it, but that gives you a secret ending. That's a totally different category, just called Prologue. We're here to see the rest of the game, so we're going to do a little bit of manipulation there to get the fireball, and then we're just going to hope for him to kill us as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this is one of many force fails in the game. There's not an insane amount, but there are a few. If you beat all of these, any of these force fails, you actually do get you get credits in the first one, and then you get some little alternate stuff on the others, but it is going to be faster to die to those because you're very underpowered. You're not supposed to be able to beat it unless you're a god gamer, which Cosmic is, so you could beat it if you want.
Yeah, I could, but I'm going to have mercy on him for right now, you know?
Yeah, it's like those YouTube comment guys. You know, I beat this game in 56 minutes when I was 12. I just didn't record it. I didn't think it was impressive. You know?
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Don't forget the blindfold as well.
I beat it 56 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. So this first mission here, this is actually called Mission 1. We're introduced to Nero's Devil Breaker system, which are these mechanical arms that his mechanic, creating mechanical arms, I don't know why the word choice was so redundant, don't worry about it. She creates these mechanical arms called Devil Breakers, which replace his right arm that was torn off by the Demon King Urizen. And this first item called Overture is a lightning hand, and it's when you charge up these things, they'll break, but they'll get a powered up move that you can use. And this first one is a bomb, so I'm just going to need to concentrate a little bit quick right here.
Yeah, basically, Cosmic was saying earlier that the orb route's super important in this game, and a huge factor of that orb route is if you get no damages on missions. No damaging missions gives you a 2 times orb bonus, so as you can imagine, that's a huge impact on the route of the game. So he's going to want to get no damage on the first 3 missions if possible, but he can save the route if he gets at least 2. So there he just guaranteed the first no damage and that 2 times bonus.
Basically what I did was I just planted 3 Overture bombs onto the boss and then shot it with Nero's revolver, which has 2 barrels on it. In case you didn't think this game was cool, you've got a character with a motorcycle sword and a double-barrel revolver.
Hey, we doing this or what?
And a mechanical arm. We're just out here. So, moving on, to the next mission. We've got a ton of red orbs from that no damage bonus like Waifu was talking about earlier. We're going to grab Spreed, which is Spreed, which is this game's sprint. That's speed and sprint combined. We're going to grab Streak, which is a sword dash. We're going to grab Split, which is a knockdown ability with the sword. And we're going to grab Roulette Spin, which is Nero's main form of DPS with the Red Queen, which is the name of his sword. Only the cool people have swords with red names. That's why Dante's is called Rebellion in this game. Nero's is called Red Queen. Everybody's just got cool sword names. Sparta is just called Sparta, so he's not in as much of the cool crowd because it's named after him, but you know. So
that's why DSD is so whack. His name Don.
So here we go. So these enemies here, you just want to make sure that you kill 2 enemies per jump. So you're going to grab the first one here, do some exceeds, grab another one, do some more exceeds.
And these exceeds are important because not only do they increase the damage output of your weapon, but they also make the swing speed faster. So you kill enemies faster in 2 different ways when you hit the exceeds. So there's like very rare circumstances where it's beneficial to not hit the exceed. But you have to time it perfectly on each swing. It's not nearly as tight as something like Royal Guard in 3, but it is still pretty tight, and each attack has its own timings. Like the roulette spin that you'll see him do here, the timing on the last hit is actually super late. It's like way after the attack hits. So learning each of those is definitely a skill that's required to get good at the exceeds.
The second breaker here, called Gerbera, not only provides Nero with an air dash, but it also provides him with an ability called Petal Ray. And this shoots a ton of tiny lasers if you unleash it in midair. And we're going to use it a little bit later to DPS down the boss called Goliath, which we're going to fight on top of a church. And hopefully we're going to kill him in the church, because that's going to be a phase skip. So
yeah, we still have to be careful to not take damage, because we still need that no damage bonus. That's basically we're saving for a power-up, a move that we'll get on mission 5 with the character V when we switch characters, because all of our characters actually maintain the same orb count and like maximum HP and stuff like that across the switches.
Which makes,
so we're going to be saving up mostly for that.
Yeah, which makes the orb route for this game super intricate, because there's been times where we've found skips with a certain character. Like Nero actually had a skip where we would go directly to the boss on mission 3 after like 2 fights, and we ended up having to route it out in this category because we didn't have enough orbs to buy the ability and get the move that we're going to get with V later on, and that move saves a lot of time. Also, this is a really cool strat. We're going to plant the bomb on this guy and just kick him into his friend, and they're both going to blow up.
Yeah, it's interesting because you end up with some weird scenarios where like there's a skip that you could do, but it's simply not possible to do both of the skips because of the way the orb route works. Like even if you played absolutely perfectly, you just wouldn't get enough orbs.
Alright, and then this room here, actually, there's a very interesting way that waves are timed in this game. They're both timed on a timer and on death. So in this room right here, second waves always appear at the exact same time after you've activated the fight. In other waves that will fight, enemies will activate after you've dealt or killed damage to, or you've killed damage. That's a good phrase. You've killed a certain amount of enemies in the wave. And then Demonic, I think there's a skip coming up here you want to talk about.
Yes, so this is actually a really cool skip, mainly due to the fact that it's one of the only ones that Cosmic is going to do that's actually kind of dev intended. So he's going to be coming up here and he's going to be grabbing a, I think it's a Nidhogg egg, right?
Nidhogg, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to go back and the street is going to collapse into a pit and he's supposed to find someone to do anything in orbs. However, if he does a really cool jump right over here, he can just completely go over that. There's no invisible wall or anything, and he skips the enemy introduction cutscene along with having to fight them. So it's a pretty cool one because it's like the devs were like, yeah, you know, if they find a way to do it, they can do it.
They throw us a bone on a few levels. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So this is Goliath. I'm going to have to concentrate here for a little bit, too, if you all want to talk about him.
Yeah, sure. Goliath is a really interesting boss because there's 2 different things that you want to have happen here. You really want to prioritize that no damage, but at the same time, you want to kill him fast. You can skip Goliath. He does this attack where he has this big chest beam. He has this big gut beam. And that attack he becomes invincible during. You can deal damage, but he'll never die. So you want to kill him before that happens. And the way you do this is you temper your damage by not doing too much and then doing a whole lot right at the end. So right here, ideally, he lowers his health bar before it gets all the
Too
way
much
through
damage in the
attack.
first phase.
Yeah, so he did a little bit too much damage in the first phase there, so he's going to be able to get this attack off. But the important thing is he still hasn't gotten hit. So the route is still super safe. So even if he was able to do more damage there, it wouldn't have mattered because he was invincible. And now, as soon as his iframes are over, he's going to finish the boss.
I could have killed him a little bit sooner, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun. You know, I'm feeling it. It's a good time.
One ride high.
It was in a church. You were just giving him that good old religious experience real quick.
Yeah.
And then,
I had to give him his time with his Lord, and I said, pick a god and pray.
had to get those Spreed strats in, man. That's the only
The
way.
Spreed strats. Shout outs to Spree Candy, dude. Some good stuff. Although it was more of a, I don't know what you could compare those to. What's the equivalent of like a Spree that might taste better? So this weapon here, this next Devil Breaker is called Punchline. If you want to actually, if somebody wants to talk about the skip here, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So this is one of the few out of bounds that actually exists in Devil May Cry in the entire series. Pretty much all the other games don't really have them. 4 kind of does, but not in the same sense. What he's going to be doing here is Punchline actually allows him to kind of use it similar to like a hoverboard, which is a really cool thing that they added in here. He's going to be able to actually jump at a very specific spot, and that's going to push him out of bounds. He's going to be basically Jesus walking on water. And Punchline will allow him to navigate his out of bounds area really quick.
Yeah, he's going to use that move Split that he bought earlier to wedge himself on some collision, and that's going to push him right out of bounds. And then he uses Punchline to fly over an invisible gap, and then fly over a much larger invisible gap briefly after. And that's going to allow him to skip a lot of mandatory fights. This level is, the way the game's paced is kind of strange. The first few levels are extremely long, and then the further you get into the game, the faster they get. Especially in the speedrun, because you start racking up a whole bunch of really powerful moves. And when you switch to Dante later on, you can just like insta-gib the whole map. So it gets way faster. Like it might take you like 20 minutes to get past mission 4 or something, but then it's only 20 missions long, so that's most of the game done.
There we go. Very
There's
nice.
the clip out.
And this is actually called University Skip for a very specific reason, and that's mainly due to the fact that we're going to be seeing here in a minute when he goes out of the bounds, that essentially the hitbox for this entire map is just a random, like, Google image picture of a random university. Like, I don't think he'll be able to show it on, but, like, you can see a pool, you can see the main building, you can see the campus, and it's just kind of there for
Yeah,
reason.
it's like some like Unreal Engine default skybox.
Yeah, there we are. There it is. Nice. Check it out.
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay, so. And then we're going to fly on over here with the hoverboard. That's also a rocket arm. In case you didn't think this game was cool. And we're right back in bounds.
Awesome, very good skip.
And these enemies, people that played Devil May Cry 1 might recognize them. They're the Sin Scissors. And you can parry them in this game. You can parry their scissors and just take them out immediately. Because there's a mechanic in this game where if you attack an enemy with your own attack, you don't need Royal Guard for this. If you attack their attack with your attack, that's a lot of attacks, you can get them into a parry state. And the Sin Scissors actually go into a one-hit kill state when you parry them.
Yeah, that mirrors something in Devil May Cry 1 that worked very similarly, where you could parry an attack with a sword swing, and then they become super vulnerable. It's a really fast way to kill Sin Scissors.
And Artemis here. Oh boy. Let's talk about that.
Artemis is a really difficult boss fight, but it is fairly straightforward. We're praying here that we get that no damage still, and it's really important that these punchline break gauges work correctly. If Artemis turns too much in the first phase, then it'll come back up and fly away, but it looks like this is going to be a good fight. You can usually tell right from the beginning. He's just going to dump these punchlines down its throat. like totally brutalize them. If it flies away, it's a big nightmare, but it's totally salvageable. You can just keep them locked down, give them the old 1-2.
You got it.
Boom. And no damage, so the route is pretty much secure almost at this point. If there's like one mission that could probably go wrong, but I have some backups for that. You know, we're riding high, getting airborne. So, V, Demonic, I believe you wanted to take the reins on this character.
Yes, so V is the newest member of the Devil May Cry crew. He's kind of a little bit controversial. There are people who love him and there are people who hate him. He does have kind of a unique mechanic in comparison to Nero, Dante, and some of the other characters in the sense that he can't exactly fight demons very well. So he actually conjures up some demons, Griffin and Shadow, and I think one other one.
Nightmare.
Where he'll have them, Nightmare, yeah, where he'll have them fight the demons, but because they can't kill demons, and he's a demon hunter, they essentially will bring those enemies down to a weakened state where he can actually kill them himself. So you'll see a lot of the combat is going to be Cosmic sending out Griffin and Shadow to fight them, and then he will come in there with the cone glow when you see that little orange glow circle around their enemy form. So it's kind of an interesting balance and a little bit different than the other characters, which is why some people really like him and some people like Waifu aren't that big of a fan.
Why would you think that? I've never said anything bad about V ever.
Well, you see, this is because V is a read the manga guy, and Waifu is very much not a read the manga guy. So
Yeah,
naturally,
no,
they
I'm
weren't
watching
gonna
the
get
guy.
they weren't gonna get along from jump. This is called fence clip, by the way. We're gonna swing V's legs into the cutscene trigger here, and we're just gonna skip that whole fight.
The developers actually answered our prayers and let us skip like almost every V level. So V is the most broken character in the game and lets you skip like everything. Fortunately, there is some combat you can't skip, but that's okay. We can deal with it.
That's also a white orb that we just picked up. V actually has the first instance of Devil Trigger in this run. Nero does not have it. V, however, his Devil Trigger he can use to power up his animals. That's why you see them glowing purple. It's the purple bar underneath my green health bar there. And it also is what I can use to summon Nightmare. On human, a lot of these combat sections are really snappy. Burst damage is really strong. Nightmare is really about the extended DPS as well as the crowd control. So I really just want to power up Griffin and Shadow to do more damage, as opposed to calling Nightmare in most situations. Here we go. And alright, and then we're gonna do the good old mic taunt there, and we'll come down here with this style already, the savage. Oh boy.
Yeah. We're like never gonna see Nightmare basically because he's just a big spoon. He actually has RNG openers that could be like slightly manipulated, but he's just it's much more useful to power up your other pets.
He can be a good boy or he can be a not so good boy. So we're gonna mostly use him in the instances where he has the highest probable chance to be a good boy. And then the other situations we're just gonna use the kitty and the bird, because the bird is the word, and we don't want any catastrophes out here. And
Oh man.
That was amazing. I just want to put that out there from the peanut gallery. I approve.
as long as you're on my side, you're welcome. It's fine. So the next boss here, there's one more fight before him. This is Nidhogg. This is sort of like the Cerberus boss that we saw in DMC3, where it's a wall boss. But this one is designed specifically for V. And it's at the base of the Cryphop. That enemy came out of nowhere. I could do nothing, I tell you. And he's a giant worm with like 3 worm heads attached to him. We're going to have to do a little bit of gardening here in a second. And the way that Nidhogg works is he goes into a stun phase when you've killed all 3 of the heads, the head tentacles. And then you call Nightmare down on him in order to... Because this is one of those setups with Nightmare where he has 2 canned calls. And well, the first one is he'll come up from the ground with a punch or like an uppercut, and we'll use that to take out one of the heads pretty much immediately. The second call is going to always be a meteor. And And if you position yourself correctly, Nightmare will come in at a really nice angle to hopefully kill all 3 heads at once, and you can get an instant down on Nidhogg. So here we go. This is, oh, that's right, there's the other one right here. The fall down. I forgot about that one. I think that's actually positioning based.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
Because
one.
it hits the... So you only do damage if you hit the middle piece, the floating boy with the blade hands. That's the only way you do damage to this boss. So Nightmare actually landed on top of him and picked up the other one. So that took out a really big chunk of health. Really nice. That was a good opener.
Then I
And
gotta
you'll see that
go ahead.
Cosmic's gonna be reading some manga while he is fighting, and that's because it actually increases his weeaboo powers and makes him stronger. It gives him Devil Trigger as he reads the manga.
The only thing I'm missing is a katana.
That'll make it so you can, yeah. Well,
It's kind of weird though, because like he has it memorized, because he can quote it verse for verse. So I don't know why he has to read from the book. But
he just needs that confirmation, dude. He's not sure about the lyrics or whatever.
He's got to make sure he's citing his sources correctly.
Yeah.
I wanted to make this reference earlier too, by the way, that I believe Cosmic, you said that Waifu and V were never going to see eye to eye from the jump. If he's a manga reader, wouldn't Waifu and V not see eye to eye from the shonen jump?
Exactly. he reads Shonen Jump.
Who is this guy? I like him. Keep him around. Yeah, so that's the fight right there. And good fight.
Yeah. Little fun fact also is V quotes a few more verses of poetry when he kills bosses, and if any of you are wondering, his favorite poet is William Blake.
Good poet, to be honest.
Cool. I mean, of course, V only chooses the best options out there.
Yeah, the best JoJo references. This next skip here is called Demonic. Take it away.
Oh,
you're good.
Yeah, so V, again, is a very broken character. You saw with the cutscene skip, he's actually able to clip out of bounds a little bit. We're going to be doing something that's a little bit more noticeable, and that is sewer skip. Or sewer skewer, I'm sorry.
Sewer skewer.
Sewer skewer.
The best name trick in the game.
And basically, Shadow has a big spike that he can turn his head into a big spike, and we can just clip through walls with it. And we just got it. Nice.
Nice. Oh yeah. So basically what happened there is Cosmic did an air taunt as he gets hit by the skewer, and since he's doing an aerial taunt, it like gives him a little bit of inertia, a little bit of movement, and then that spike just pushes him right through the wall. This is like a little bit more of a marathon safe setup for the trick. You can actually, he clipped all the way through 2 walls, which puts him so that he has to just break that thing and come down here. But you can actually clip through 1 of the walls, and then you end up out of bounds, and then do some little platforming, and you can get yourself back into this room. However, if you mess with the platforming even a little bit, you can definitely hardlock, and you will have to restart the game. So it's much safer to go for this sort of strat.
Yeah, I really like this version of the skip a lot, especially for marathons, like you said. This is the Impusa Queen, by the way. This is a very big girl. And her little minions out. They're all dead. Okay, never mind. All right, we don't even have to talk about her yet.
So I gotta be honest, I keep hearing Papusa and I'm getting hungry like out of nowhere. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Also, do you have time for a couple of
Yeah,
donations?
go for it, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have a $10 donation from Mr. Harby that says, we know, well, he didn't say this part, but I'm assuming this is what it was implied. We all know who the manga reader was, but who is the Netflix live-action fanboy in the Devil May Cry universe?
Probably Nico. I'd have to say Nico.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, yeah.
We also have a $5 donation from D-Man that says, where's the Pog multiverse emote? Pog you. There you go, guys.
This, by the way, is the Elder Garian Knight. Similar to Devil May Cry 3, there's a lot of... You notice this game likes to reference the other games a lot? I definitely noticed it. It's a good game. So, this time horse can also stop time. He's also mounted by a giant knight with a big sword. And here's Nightmare.
Yeah, there's this thing. It's a trend in Devil May Cry to make all of the worst aspects of your game about horses, and I don't know like why they continuously do this, but you know, DMC1, you got this horse at the beginning that you do really hard platforming on every run. DMC3, you got the time horse, which is the worst boss in the game except for Arkham, and then in DMC5, you have this horse. God, it's fine.
You like Gigapede more?
Yeah, I like Gigapede more than horse.
Wow.
For sure.
You just don't like horsing around, man. I think that's what's the issue
No,
here.
I'm not horsing around.
I swear though, on my first casual playthrough DMC1, I watched the speedruns a lot and I tried to do the horse jump, and I swear to God it took me like 15 or 20 attempts to do it.
It's a hard trick.
It's
It's a hard trick.
Yeah.
And that's the fight there. This next fight against a boss called Gilgamesh is basically like Devil May Cry throwing Shadow of the Colossus a reference. It's really, really big, and we fight it with Nero. We're going to switch back to Nero for this mission, and then go back to V on the next one to see more broken stuff. And you have to grip up to the top of it to see its weak point. But first, we're going to be doing a little bit of buying here. So, first of all, we're going to be buying Breaker Plus, which is going to increase the amount of slots in Nero, or the amount of Devil Breakers that Nero can carry at once. We're going to increase it to 4. We're also going to grab Exceed 2, which is going to give us a second level of Exceed, and then we're going to buy 2 Overtures. In addition to that, we're going to be setting up 2 magazines. Oh, sorry, we're going to buy 3 Overtures. I actually meant 3 Overtures first try. So 4 Overtures in the first mag, and then we're going to put Gerbera as well as a new item called Helter Skelter, which we'll see on Mission 8. And then we're going to go into fight. Go ahead.
That's some preemptive menuing so that he can consolidate it all to right now, and then he just has to click like right bumper for the next missions instead of going all the way through those menus. Because those menus do take a long time to load, especially if you're playing on like console or something.
For sure. So first we're going to take out the legs on Gilgamesh with this move called Battery, which is the normal attack for Overture. And it's just a big electric hand. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to charge up Overture. And we're going to plant 3 bombs on it again. And then it's down. And then there's going to be a little bit of a canned pattern here, where he's going to shoot out some spikes. And we're just going to maintain a little bit of air momentum here. A little bit of hang time. And then
I must say, it is insanely good. There's like so built to stay in the air in this game. It's actually like insane.
Yeah, the amount of like the lack of gravity that this game has, as well as like the amount of moves that you have to stay in the air, is like you said, it's just absurd.
Yeah, and we've seen some good examples of how long Cosmic can stay in the air, but there's like an upcoming skit where like it really shows how long. Because like in DMC, the other DMC games, when you jump, you kind of just almost immediately start sinking to the floor after you hit the apex. But here, the properties are a little bit different, and that allows for some very interesting tech.
I thought my controller disconnected for a second. Okay, I'm gonna have to replace that soon. So. Okay, good. I thought I lost audio too. Excellent.
Now we're going for the big boy V skips.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
This
yes.
is stuff that like no one else does in their full game runs because it's really, really hard.
There's a couple. There's a couple,
But
but
Cosmic's a machine for this game.
there's a couple. I can't give all the credit to myself. There's a few of them out there, but it is definitely like a huge reset point, especially once like you get a lot of your late game really clean. This tends to be a pretty big reset point. So the first skip that we're gonna do, we're gonna actually shoot through some rafters with sewer skewer, or with skewer, I guess. This is not a sewer. Subway skewer. There we go. We just named it. All right. So the first one here, we're gonna do this. Come on. I hope y'all enjoy the backside of Shadow, because you're going to be seeing it for a second. Come on. There we go. Oh no, Shadow. This is not where we want to be. We want to show the people what we can do through the skewer, with the skewer, Shadow. Thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, this is really difficult.
Finicky. Yep, there we go. And
So
Nice,
that
there
one
we
in
go.
particular was really scary because if he doesn't cut through the wall enough, he'll get stuck between the rafters. And then he'll have to do another skewer to get through that wall. And there's like no room to set up. And then once he gets through, he has to make sure that he doesn't hit the trigger for the fight in that room. So he has to make sure he's over to the side enough. And then there's another really difficult skewer here where he's going to have to jump back as soon as he hits the skewer so that he can land on the brief floor that is like right next to the wall.
So this is definitely the bigger one, and it's going to be a lot more out of bounds. He's not like flipping through walls to get back into inbounds in an area later on. He's actually going to be trying to go outside. This skip doesn't exactly have a name, but I'm just going to call it Subway Skip for now because you're in a subway and you're skipping. So if you can get out of here right now.
Yep, okay. All right, I'm doing like, okay, 1 second. There we go. Excellent. All right.
Nice.
And I'm just going to take a little bit of second here for the game to save my position, just in case I fall down.
Yeah, when you are traversing out of bounds, the game actually saves your location, but it doesn't do it all the time. So sometimes, if you want to be safe, you should just like stand around for a second. Because if you fall out of bounds, you don't soft lock, thankfully, but it'll send you into some place where you know you were at recently, and you can actually save that location out of bounds, which is super useful.
All right.
And then we also have another amazing skybox out here. This isn't a university, at least I don't think.
This is the same
actually,
thing,
it might
I
be just a
think, but
different angle.
there's also this park bench over
Oh,
here
you're
that's
right.
really sick, dude. And then the pool, let's go swimming, dude. All right.
Wow, I didn't even know that. They
great.
use the same skybox.
Pretty sure it's the same one, yeah. All right, so here we go. This jump's really tricky.
Yeah, this jump is the hardest part of the skip for sure. There's these big invisible boxes in the air where you cannot do a double jump with Griffin. So Cosmic's going to be trying his best to avoid those and to maintain that double jump. And here it's very particular about where you need to be jumping. And he's going to land on the invisible platform.
Yeah, the camera definitely doesn't help right here. As you can see, like there's a lot of stuff kind of blocking it, and you know, just kind of getting in the way, along with landing on invisible platforms.
Nice.
Typical outbound stuff. There we go.
Then we're going to hit this checkpoint here, and then we're going to wait for it to end. And then we're going to hit the checkpoint and restart from last checkpoint, which will bring us back in bounds to do the final boss fight here, which is the Proto and Scudo Angelos. And they're like the Proto Angelo is the leader of the Scudo Angelos. The Scudos have the shields and swords in their hands, and the Proto just has the big claymore. Here I'm going to try and do an Angelo exploit, which allows me to parry the stance that the Proto is going to go into and instantly kill him. Hopefully along with a couple of his cronies. And we got him. Nice.
More pause in chat and all of the claps for the out of bounds and all of the boss fights.
You got a little bit of time here as well. It's a little bit of downtime if you have any sort of like ads that you need to do or donations.
Sure, of course. Yeah, of course. So I do want to remind chat one more time that we are, of course, over $4,000, which is amazing. Again, that's really, really awesome. We had a couple of those donations come in that have moved us up in the Axiom Verge incentive to now $376. So we are very, very close to meeting that incentive. We just have a little ways to go there, and you'll still have time to get in your donations for the Claire costume bid war as well. So please, if you are looking forward to either one of those, you can check out !donate in the chat while you're watching Cosmic destroy everything in the run. So.
Thank you very much. So this mission is like the run back with the Demon King, kind of, sort of. Nero's now trying to make his way back to the top of the tree, the Clyfoth, which is these big trees that are on Earth, just sort of killing most of the human race off. We're just gonna, the game kind of glosses over this a little bit, and we're going to too. So moving onward, this first fight here, we're gonna grab this overture here, and we're gonna take out these guys called the Riots. And we're just going to take them out with the battery here. The big thing on this mission is mostly just going to be optimizing the little things in these fights, as well as trying to hit these cycles on the blood elevators. Because the blood elevators If you don't hit them if you don't hit the cycles correctly, they're on like a global timer, you're going to experience a little bit of time loss here. After this overture here as well, I want to break it when I'm coming up to grab the Gerbera, because this is going to set up the magazine. The magazines in this game for the Devil Breakers, they work sort of in reverse order. I guess, well, actually, it kind of makes sense. The thing that you pick up first, or the thing that you picked up most recently, goes into the front of the magazine. And the drops in New Game for all of the Devil Breakers, except for 2, I believe, which are on Mission 15, they're all fixed. So the Devil Breakers that I use in these fights are all based on what drops in the level, as well as what I can afford at the time. The 2 Gerberas that we're going to be seeing here are going to be used on the boss, as well as the Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter is basically a giant drill arm. Nero goes a little bit Gurren Lagann for a second.
Where does this go?
Yeah, it's important to note that he can't like just freely switch between which arms that he uses. So like, you know, let's say he wanted to use a Helter Skelter, he would have to drop his Gerbera before he could actually activate it, and that's essentially just getting rid of them or dumping them into an enemy. So he has to be very, you know, careful and just make sure he's not like picking up the wrong one at the wrong time.
You have skateboard tricks, by the way. What the hell is Tony Hawk? Play Devil May Cry.
If you didn't think this
If you didn't think this game was cool. And these enemies that we're going to get introduced to next are, I just call them the goats. I believe they're called the Baphomets. They have a shield around them that protects them from projectiles. So what I'm going to do is actually shoot this punchline rocket arm at them, and that's going to get rid of the shield immediately. And that's going to just allow me to kill it. The rocket arm as well keeps enemies afloat, which is really good if you're going to like reset your weight by landing on the ground and then continuing to cycle them that way. You can also, why am I not hitting any roulettes right now? Okay, so we're going to launch this rocket arm here. You can also break them, by the way, to do damage. So here we go. Boom, explosion, enemy dead. There is a skip here too, if somebody wants to talk about that. It's like another dev intended skip.
This again.
I'll leave that to you, waifu.
Yeah, so basically, the devs just wanted like a little bit of incentive to play around with the advanced mechanics that are like kind of unique to this game, stuff like air taunts and stuff like that. So especially in missions like this, they left like these big like, hey look, I bet you can make this jump, and they're actually really easy to make across, most of them. You can mess them up and have to do some mandatory fights and whatnot, but they definitely help in saving a little bit of time, because the runs can be kind of long at times, especially with the load times. Being able to skip any fight that you can helps a lot.
Absolutely. So this is the last fight before the run back with the Demon King. That's another, like, you can actually beat one of the phases now. You get a little bit of leeway, but it's going to also come down to another force fail. So I would like to mention that the more damage you actually do to the crystal that Urizen has in front of him, the more damage that he deals to you. So that's why we have these breakers. Is because, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? Alright, anyway. So, the reason that we have these breakers is that they're going to deal the most damage to Urizen with a lot of hits. And so that's going to make it so that he deals more damage to us and kills us quicker. So yes, there are force fail strats in this game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and since that he has to force fail this mission, obviously he can't get a no damage bonus. And he also forfeited the no checkpoint reset bonus on the last mission because doing that skip. So you're not able to get like the most optimal money route while going fast at all time. It's just like how it's not always optimal to S-rank every mission, even though it is Devil May Cry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it does also mean that you kind of have to know how to adapt and react to like what the game kind of gives to you. You can't always just follow the same exact specific path every time. You kind of got to know the game and know the money routes pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't just bank on like I'm going to no damage every mission, because if you do, then we'll end up resetting an insane amount.
Yeah.
So especially if you're going to do like a marathon run or something, you need to know like all the backups, because while Cosmic did no damage the first 3 levels, that makes it pretty free. Like, he could have easily gotten hit on any of them. Or hell, like worst case scenario, you get hit on all of them. Like, you'd have to figure out how you're gonna make that work. It'd still be able to do the skips and stuff.
So we're gonna do the first Gerber break there. Do a second Gerber break here, and that's gonna take out the first shield. Shoot. That was an action, not an exclamation. So then we're gonna do this Gurren Lagann drill here. Do a ton of damage. And then he's going to shoot his big wave of wind at here. Somehow Nero just gets knocked out by some wind. Gets the wind knocked out of him, so to speak. And then these giant tentacles are going to come out. And we're just going to stay away from these other tentacles here because they drop health orbs. And that's not good. So there we go. Moving on to mission 8. Come on, Nero. Chin up, dude. We're going fast.
Oh, that was some amazing voice acting. Amazing.
Thank you.
I thought that was the game.
I did too. It was insane. I was like, oh my god, wow.
Just call me Johnny Young Bosch.
I forgot to ask a little bit earlier, but for chat and everything, don't forget that we did reach the Faust Hat Cutscene incentive for this game as well, so I'm sure Cosmic will let me know or announce it.
I will
when it's
oblige
coming
you,
up.
yes.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yes, quite. So we're back to V, the guy with the manga and the cane. And this level is quite a bit of movement. The first thing that we're going to do here in this fight is teleport to this behemoth, land, and then call Nightmare while calling out Shadow and Griffin. Nightmare's meteor is canned there. He's going to do it every time, and it's going to take off the armor from the behemoth. Then we're going to try and clean up these dudes while I'm deactivating Nightmare. Get a little bit of Devil Trigger back. There's 2 big skips on this mission. The first one is called Tree Skip. If you want to talk about that one, Demonic.
Yeah, so Tree Skip is pretty cool. It's kind of like the dev-intended ones that we've been talking about, where there's a giant gap and you can perfectly make that. This one isn't exactly dev-intended, but it kind of works in the same way, where what he's going to be doing is he's going to essentially run into a piece of geometry, which is going to be one of the climb-off trees, and what he's going to do is that's going to allow him to build with speed, and then he's going to do some very specific air taunts and jumps and using Griffin in order to clear a gap and to completely skip a trigger. The problem is he really needs as much speed, distance, and height as he possibly can. If he goes too low or if he doesn't, if he shoots too short, then he's not actually going to land it. So he has to be a little bit careful, and he's going to be doing some specific movements here that we'll see as he's coming into this part.
Yeah, so I'm just going to need to concentrate for a little bit here. This trick's really weird. Nice textures there. Okay, skip done. That's actually supposed to be a fight down there, but it's all done now. We don't have to do it.
Yeah, he just went over the whole thing.
He made that look way easier than it actually is.
Yeah, that's a finicky one, because you have to get the launch at the right angle, otherwise you'll hit a big invisible wall on the right side and you just lose all your speed.
And the reason that we call it tree skip is because I use the tree that's at the bottom of the jump there as sort of the landmark for where I need to be teleporting to.
I thought it was because of the orb tree. That you
That's what I thought too.
Oh. Well, today we learned.
It could be both.
Yeah. I feel as though I've misled you both. This is awful.
I was just saying it. My entire life, I've watched so many runs of Waifu and Cosmic do it, and I just always assume that's wrong.
Oh, I opened up these coffins accidentally. This is bad. I mashed a little bit too hard.
Yeah. There's some coffins in this room, and they actually spawn optional enemies to break them, so it's a little bit slow, but it ain't no big deal.
Yeah, it's whatever.
There's gonna be a couple more skip.
Excuse
One
me,
more skip.
Shadow. Yeah, there's one more skip here. Yeah. Coffin skip.
And this one's one that you would, like, you ever play a video game and you're like, man, I bet you could skip that. Like, if you just tried, you'd probably skip that. That's like, this is the definition of that. You literally just, like, do a forward attack at the right angle and you go right through it. You skip a whole encounter.
Because there's no invisible wall. Alright, let's try this. Yep, there it goes. So that whole,
Nice.
yeah, there's no invisible wall on the other side there. There's invisible walls on some other counters similar to that, like Mission 4. We've tried, believe me. But there's no invisible wall there, so you can just teleport it right through it right as the fight is activating. Also, here's the Sin Scissors again. But V's got the moves as well.
I don't know. Parrying his V is much harder in my opinion.
It takes a little bit of. It's a little bit weird, yeah.
It's never truly an online marathon without something crazy like that.
There you
Okay.
go. You're back.
All
I think
right.
we're-
So OBS just
game's not
crashed. Yeah. The game should be. Oh, I just have to hit game capture again.
Yeah.
All right. So that should be
We're
good.
gonna switch back over. We just switched back over, so that's a good thing. And then
Okay,
if you want, you
great.
can like count down again for our text, and they'll restart your timer.
All right. So, we're back. Not front. So, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So moving back on into it. Thanks OBS. These next enemies here that we're going to be coming up on are called the Nobodies. They're also from DMC1. Once again, coming at them with the references to the other games, and they're also pretty tanky. They have a lot of health, so we're going to call Nightmare here as well.
Yeah, enemies being tanky is definitely a thing in this game. Cosmic is playing on the easiest difficulty. Normally, Devil May Cry runs are done on what would be like the normal difficulty. Like I just ran Devil May Cry 3 new game normal, and then Devil May Cry 1 is also ran on normal. 4 is ran on Devil Hunter, which is what is normal. I mean, people run different categories, of course, but those are the main ones. In DMC5, it's a bit different though, because of the implementation of Red Orb revives and the much tankier enemies. In Devil Hunter, there's a lot of optimal places where you die on purpose and then use Red Orbs to revive and do damage, and that's actually faster. That's kind of weird, champ, for a lot of people. So we're like, yeah, no thanks. We'll run easy instead, where you don't have to death abuse.
Yeah, it's similar to RE4, where the main category for that is New Game Pro, which is the hardest difficulty because that game that locks the DA. So a lot of people run that, whereas on the lower difficulties for RE4, you kind of have to do the same thing where you have to kill Ashley or die to lower the DA for specific areas. So it's kind of the same premise there.
Yeah, except in the opposite direction, basically.
It's basically
So you play on the easier difficulty.
with this game. Believe me, I've run a decent amount of Devil Hunter. It's basically just the same category with a couple of extra moves, and it's about like 15 minutes longer, just because of enemy health. You're not really doing anything extra interesting, whereas like in Devil May Cry 3, enemies just die way too fast with Royal Guard. So a lot of the strats, like the coolest strats, come out on normal. And same thing with DMC1, like DMC1 is balanced pretty well for the lower difficulties, but this game, you might as well just save another 15 minutes of your life every time you run and just play on human. It's just a much snappier category. Combat sections are really nice. They don't really just drag on, so that's why we play on human most of the time.
But Street, why aren't you playing on the hardest difficulty?
Because
In S ranking every mission.
in DMD, Dante must die. The hardest difficulty, there's even more red orb revives. And it's even worse. So, this is Dante, the walking arsenal. We can change his fighting style at will. We can change his weapons at will. You know, melee weapons and ranged weapons. So we've got some gauntlets. We've got a shotgun. We've got some pistols, and we got the broadsword. And we're going to work on some demons right here.
Unfortunately, similarly to V, the first time you play as him, you're not allowed to upgrade any of your moveset. Like, we would have had enough money to probably even buy Skewer, and on New Game Plus, if you buy Skewer on Mission 4, you can do even more skips that aren't available on New Game. But you can't buy power-ups at the beginning of that mission that you first play as them. Thankfully, as Dante, though, you only have to do 2 fights, and then we come up on a statue here where we're going to spend our orbs that we've been saving for a very long time, because Dante has the most expensive buy list for sure by a long shot, but it's totally worth it because he is borking, dude.
He's really so good in this game, dude, yeah.
Like, so he's going to buy Swordmaster all the way up to level 4, Trickster up to level 3, and then later we're going to be buying some Gunslinger as well as Ignition and Stinger. Ignition is a unique mechanic to Balrog, his new gauntlet in this game, where if you do a certain amount of attacks in a row, the gauntlets will catch on fire, and it gives you access to exclusive moves and does a bit more damage. So right there you see is Real Impact, which is super strong in this game. Surprisingly, even stronger in DMC4 somehow. But he's gonna use that to like annihilate most enemies in the game and a lot of the bosses as well. And then you got Trickster for the slightly faster movement, and it's going to be useful for some semi-dev intended skips in a couple
Semi. Now we're gonna play with you, Sin Scissor. And now it's showtime. This is definitely my favorite part of the run, the mission 10 to 12 stretch, where you're just going to town with Dante, man. It's so much fun. It's so good. I think we have a little bit of downtime here as well, if Max, you've got anything.
Sure thing. I always love to hear myself talk. So let's let's go ahead and see what's going on with our polls and targets here. I'm sorry, I was just memorized by the walking arsenal. I'm still thinking about it. See, the manga comic got me. Now I'm interested in which manga he actually likes or not. But we are at $376 for the Axiom Verge incentive for changing normal to hard mode. I believe that incentive is actually called Change Normal to Hard Mode Hoggers. So if you guys want to donate to that target incentive, it's only $124 away from being met. In our polls, of course, it looks like 98 has made a little bit of a comeback. The Pixel Nation is coming back at $188.93, but they are far behind the Noir costume at $471. So get those donations in as soon as you can, and continue to enjoy this amazing run.
That was a skip, by the way. There was supposed to be a fight there, but you activate an encounter in that secret room, and then you abuse the way the game treats encounter priority, so the fight there just never activates. Also, y'all with the costumes on the Resident Evil 2 run, don't let the boomers win. Just get the Noir in there. I want to see the sharp-dressed woman out there fighting G5. Okay.
I'm wondering if they'll add the black and white filter. Is that part of the one as well?
I don't know, actually. It's a good question.
I can certainly ask the runner, who's Chad, but we all know that it's Chad's hair that makes the decisions for him, so I will see what his hair has in store for that Noir outfit, if it does, when that did work.
Now that's what I call a hairy situation. You both love me. You know it. You know it.
Those puns are just splitting hairs.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so moving into the second to last fight here on this level is the Angelos again, except Dante doesn't have to respect them nearly as much as somebody like V does. we're going to be going to town with the real impacts, with the uppercuts, the Shin Shoryukens. And the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to have to break the shield of the first Scudo in front of us. Fortunately, I do have a decent bit of Devil Trigger here, so this fight should go pretty well. We want to just land as many real impacts as possible and maintain a decent amount of Devil Trigger the entire time. So here we go. First one, boom, bop, bop. We're going to teleport to this guy, activate Devil Trigger, which is going to give us super armor. Take this guy out, throw a rose at him, bring him back down to the ground. All that fun stuff, and then we're gonna do this. This guy actually just didn't cooperate, so that's fine. And he's gonna get wrecked. Who wants to talk about Urizen? Because he's back.
You can wipe him.
Urizen's back. He's here again. That's what it means. He's back. Basically, this is
another force fail. Yeah.
Classic. Another force fail.
I believe there's something.
Too strong.
I believe there's something pretty cool in this fight, though, isn't there, waifu?
I wouldn't know. I didn't pick it up in the first place.
Oh, that's fair. Well, we're gonna find it for you, buddy. Where is it? Right. So, ladies, Kalina and 1 is in this fight. Here it is. For those of you that didn't know, you can pick it up on mission 11 as well. But there it is.
Pretty pog.
It's pretty pog, yeah.
You get the other half later. You get 2 rocket launchers. It's 1 monster.
The Rock'em Sock'em rocket launchers. And now,
in a game like DMC, you'd ever have more than needed.
Next game's gonna have 3 rocket launchers. Mark my words.
Minimum
Yeah,
is 1.
Yeah, I legit didn't get that on my first play. Like
You just missed it, like, entirely.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was there. I was like, well, how did everyone get double rocket? I suck at this game, I guess.
So Dante actually, that was a prologue basically, even though that's not called the prologue, it's the prologue. That takes place before the events of most of the game that we've been playing. Mission 11, Dante wakes up after about a month's worth of napping. V wakes him up on mission 9. Dante's sword Rebellion has been broken at this point by Urizen, so now he's using his father's sword, Sparta.
Yeah, we're post time skip now. We're in the good Arctic canon.
This is just like Gurren Lagann, dude.
Exactly.
And this boss I should say, this level has one of my favorite bosses in the game, Cavaliere Angelo. We're going to be fighting him after a few fights right here. And Cavaliere Angelo is the knight that was on top of Garyon. And I think this, wifey, you want to talk about the Royal Guard in the... Oh my goodness, I missed that. Excuse me.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a very DMC3 boss, which is what makes it so fun, I think, is that you implement a lot of Royal Guard usage and a lot of real impact. It's a nice mix, and it makes it very fun. Royal Guard in this game was made like quite a bit easier than like in 3, but it is still very difficult. So it's gonna be cool to see those blocks and keep going. But he needs to make sure that he doesn't release too perfectly, kind of like Agni and Rudra in 3, or if he puts too perfectly and mess stuff up. He needs to be able to hit those real impacts and then chain loop him into a never-ending skyrocket punch right into his crotch over and over again until he dies.
Yeah. This one is definitely very cool. It's a little bit different from all the other DMC games because, like, in the trilogy, the first 3 DMC games, you essentially only play as like one character going through them. You can do like different cameras, like this for 3. 4, you play as 2 kind of if you do the main one, but even then you're not really choosing. But here it's like you have 3 different characters. They're all very different from one another, and some of them you have to like choose different missions to do them on. So there's definitely a lot more. You have to have a lot more like versatile toolkit to use to get through stuff like this.
Yeah, routing this game was definitely like a feat.
There's so many options for sure, and it ended up in this really cool medium where it's like if you look at like the meta of Devil May Cry speedruns, like what each speedrun is like. You have DMC 1 where it's not that execution heavy, but it's extremely route important. The knowledge of the route is like the utmost important thing in DMC 1. DMC 2 is very much like that as well. But DMC3 takes out the route mostly, and it's all about execution. And 4 is a nice balance between execution and the route as well. And 5 just so happens to be like that as well. Like very similar to 4, where the route is like the most important thing, but then right behind it is that execution. You can't really take advantage of the route the way it should be taken advantage of if you don't have a high level of execution, comfortability with the mechanics themselves.
Absolutely, and it's worth noting that like there's the Royal Guard, even though it's really strong in this game, enemies really aren't aggressive enough to use it a lot. Otherwise, you'd see it probably a ton. So here's Cavalier Angelo. Well,
Gotta block a bit, then do some sick range dancing to get some ignition and set up for the crotch punch.
oops, I fucked it up. Whatever, dude.
That's good. Good ass back up on it.
All right. If you want to play this game, sir, that's fine.
Here we go. Right in the crotch.
Boom.
This was not optimal, but we're just gonna take it.
Gotta take it. It worked. Didn't die.
Oh my goodness, dude. This is like the worst fight that I've had of this in a while. Alright, so moving on. First try.
First try. Oh my god.
My favorite boss, yeah, just
Hey, well, I mean,
every time.
well.
we did say it was DMC3 like.
True, yeah, and I do suck at that game. So
is-
that's pretty much on par with my performance there. I'm glad everybody could see the other side of me. So this next level here, I guess Demonic, do you want to talk about this one? This is another like pretty interesting skip in quotes.
Actually, I'll let Waifu get this
Okay.
because I don't know the exact details of
Okay,
it.
go for it.
Yeah, basically we spent a bunch of moolah that we could have used in something more useful into movement. Gross. But it's very, very useful in this level because there's a bunch of mandatory fights that we're just going to totally skip by just having sick combos. Dante with Trickster has some insane vertical and horizontal going on, especially when he double triggers. Because when he double triggers, he gets an additional Trickster dash, I believe, and an additional double jump. So he can triple jump, unless I'm
Correct.
incorrect.
Yeah, no,
there.
you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so he gets a whole lot going for him. So he's gonna need to make sure that he has the double trigger available to him. But the main point of this mission is to break open these 3 beloved walls, and they will open the path to the boss, where we're actually going to fight Urizim, and we're not just gonna let him bully us and take how much money. We're gonna finally stand up to him. But first, we need to do a little parkour first, just like anyone that's going to confront the bully.
This is a very common thing of the characters like confronting a bully, getting their ass kicked, going to power themselves up so they can confront them again, getting their ass kicked, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's very Devil May Cry. That's like the whole arc of 3 as well.
After losing a week's worth of lunch money, you absolutely have to
Learn parkour.
parkour your way to victory against your bully, of course. Do you guys have a quick chance for
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, we have a $24.97 donation from Chad's Hair. As the representative of Chad, I shall royally decree that I will take these awesome runner and commentators' advice to heart when choosing to use the black and white filter for Noir Clay.
Excellent.
Well, there you go.
Also, in case you want a reason to play this game, as if there weren't enough already, one character has a sword that has a motorcycle engine in it. The other character has a motorcycle that he swings like a sword.
It's been a while.
And Cavalier, which is the weapon that we got from Cavalier Angelo, surprise, is this big motorcycle. And it operates on a system called gears. And so the more you sort of let moves rock out, no pun intended, The more you delay like your attacks in strings, the bike will rev up, and when you go into overtop gear, the wheels will glow orange, and it does an absolute insane amount of damage, especially on high HP targets. This fight here, Urizen, we're gonna grab this. I just want to play this a little bit safe, and we have to go into our new anime power-up form called Sin Devil Trigger. We get a sword named after us, so now we're lame, like Lifu let us know. And we're gonna just go to town on Urizen. And we're just gonna... Go ahead.
Yeah, so Sin Devil Trigger is a new bar. It's like a fighting game now. We got like 6 HPs on stuff. It's a new bar that is above our Devil Trigger that we can sacrifice regular Devil Trigger to fill up. And once that is full, you can use it by holding the Devil Trigger down, similar to like a Devil Trigger explosion like in 3. But instead of exploding, you stab yourself in the chest with the sword aimed after yourself. It's very
anime.
Large brain move. Yes. And this allows you to become a big, giant demon dude. And you do insane damage. You have access to a bunch of unique moves. And you're basically invincible. So this is actually taken from Devil May Cry 2, kind of. There is a thing in Devil May Cry 2 called Sin Devil Trigger, which looks a lot like and functions very similarly mechanically.
This is also the Faust Hat Cutscene, by the way, so get your disco balls out, cause
and all of your dance emotes.
And all your dance emotes, yes. So yeah, what we did there to Urizen was just break his crystal and then dust him with an uppercut, basically.
I'm just gonna double check.
To summarize that fight.
Shins.
Yeah, we had to punch him in the shins too to knock him down. So the gang here has basically found each other finally. They finally met up to discuss what their next plans are for taking down the Demon King. And this is actually Dante's first time meeting Nero's mechanic, Nico. And she's going to give him a pretty cool weapon. So we'll let it just play out here.
Is even more dense than the blood that created it. Its power is unparalleled. Even the almighty Mundus used it to become king of the underworld. V told me everything.
Yeah, well, that's a lovely story and all, but as long as we know where to find him.
Whoa, you! The infamous Dante. I'm
Nicoletta Goldstein.
Goldstein. Sound familiar? My grandmother is Nell Goldstein, the gunsmith that made all your fancy weapons that you got strapped back there. Yeah, there she is.
You don't much look like her.
This weapon, by the way, is a hat.
I got my looks from my daddy.
A white hat
That's
with
all I got
some
from
demon
him.
red orbs on it.
But based on his research, I managed to cobble this.
Kills demons with it by tipping it, saying,
Consider it
My demon.
in honor of us finally meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. There we go. And that was the Faust Hat cutscene. So, he'll take that, he says. And now we get one of the most broken items, or broken weapons in the game. But we're not going to use it yet.
Hat Borkin.
Hat Borkin. You care to explain that, waifu?
Yeah. Basically, Faust Hat is this insanely interesting and unique, intricate weapon that allows you to use your currency as a weapon. So you shoot red orbs with it. It's literally pay to win. Especially, like, okay, well, like, we obviously don't use microtransactions as a speedrun, but you can buy red orbs. So you literally can pay to win.
Yeah, in full
Yeah.
form. You can throw your money at the screen and you'll do damage.
They're not wrong.
It's pretty great.
They're not wrong, folks.
And yeah. And so it's actually super powerful too. So we've been saving up our money so that once we get that, we can buy, we're gonna buy Gunslinger is the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
We're gonna buy the Gunslinger levels so that we can get some special abilities with the hat, and then the hat is going to delete for the rest of the game. We're gonna pay to win our way through the rest of the levels after we do 1 level or 2 more levels with Nero and 1 more level with
Your favorite guy.
yeah, the best dude.
The best.
Unfortunately, you can't pay to win as
True.
Microtransactions.
Hey.
That works? That works? Oh, okay.
This is a bit of a downtime mission here. You're just kind of going through, killing these spawners, trying to get to the next floor. This is also one of the few true co-op missions in the game. You got a couple of buddies that you can link up with. This is a good time. Just drop on down through here, kill some mobs, and Devil May Cry. If you have anything that you need to do, Max, go for it.
Oh shoot, I was only ready with that hunt. No, just kidding.
You're good.
Yeah. That cutscene was well worth absolutely crushing that incentive earlier. So thank you guys so much again in chat for that. Y'all crushed it by over $50 over the incentive amount, which is it proves to show how much you all wanted to see dancing in the run, of course. So, with the last set of donations, real quick before we get back into the game, the last set of donations pushed the Axiom Verge incentive to less than $100 to fulfill. So we are getting very, very close to normal to hard mode progress.
Nice. So, now that we've done this little bit with Nero here, hope for the lizard boys aren't out for my blood. Yeah, they are. Okay, that's fine though. This is going to be the last mission with V, and Devil May Cry has this trope, like in Devil May Cry 3 that we saw, that Waifu talked about, the Capcom classic, El Clasico, the boss rush. For some reason, they put it at the end of V's missions. V has to fight these weakened forms of Artemis, Goliath, and Cavalier. He gets all of his weapons taken away from him, or his summons, and you have to pick them up back one by one. So we're gonna only have we're gonna have 1 summon for 1 fight, 2 for the next, and then 3 for the final, and then 2 to get ready and go cat go. But before that, this is like this whole dream sequence here too. There's a forced walking section. It's very interesting. This is demonic. You know about this, right? This is Last of Us 2.
Yeah, as a Last of Us 1 runner, this is the most familiar I've been in this entire commentary.
Don't worry, dude. The loads in this game are shorter. So, moving into Artemis. I'm gonna try and just bank on some good RNG here. Shadow with Skewer does an absolute metric butt ton of damage to Artemis with Skewer. So let's see what we can do here.
The really cool part about this boss rush, though, I think, is that it's a boss rush, right? So usually those are like, oh man, I gotta fight these bosses again. But you fight them as a character that has never seen them before. So it's pretty cool that you at least get like a fresh perspective on the bosses, even though you do have to fight them again.
There it
It
goes.
also helps that it's like in a unique way as well, where you don't have all your summons with you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely adds some extra to it. Hey, look at that, dude. It's like a whole third of its health bar. It's like literally a 3-hit kill.
Yep, there we go. Wasn't really, like, the RNG on this wasn't great, but we still got the kill relatively quickly. Ideally, she just kind of sits there in the middle like she did for a while and shoots lasers, and then Shadow can just pump 3 skewers into her, and then she just dies immediately. The next thing that we're going to pick up here for Goliath is going to be Griffin, and then you want to grab Nightmare for Cavalier. Just because Cavalier without all 3 of them at your disposal can be a little bit of a headache. And on this one here as well, if you have Nightmare, you also get forced into a Rock'em Sock'em Robots type of cutscene thing that will just waste like 10 seconds. It's really cool. Definitely check it out if and when you play this game, which I hope is more of an if than a when. But we don't want to watch that, so before Goliath shoots me with his belly there, we're just going to take him down. Got any more donations or anything, Max? I'm just gonna go and kill this guy again here.
Let me check over on here. I was just noticing that like all of these bosses in the boss rush are like they look pure white. If I'm not
That
mistaken,
is correct.
or at least
Yeah.
from what I can see on some of
This is sort of like a dream
and the
state.
only thing, okay, the only thing I could think of for some reason, and I don't know why, but I thought like in this boss rush it was like they look like teddy bears, white teddy bears, and I was like, oh, it's Build a Boss Workshop, Devil May Cry 5 edition, and I was just sitting here thinking that to myself and giggling to myself. So that's how that one works out. But yeah, I do want to thank everyone so far for getting us really, really close to $4,100. We are at $4,044.97. Someone please fix that 97 cents. It's going to bother me for the rest of the day.
I was gonna say the bosses remind me of like the Warhammer figurines that are just unpainted. So I was thinking this could be like just Warhammer Age of Dante.
That's actually really accurate.
Didn't they add Dante into like League of Legends or something recently?
Oh, there was
some character exactly like that.
Yeah, it was a character like that. Has like style ranks and stuff. It's probably going to be really busted.
Yeah.
She kind of reminded me a little bit more of Lucia than anyone.
That's true. That's true.
very true.
Also, at some point when I first started running this game, my rig was so bad that I would have to look at the floor in this section in order to maintain a steady 60 FPS.
My boy Cosmic running SM64 real quick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So stare at the ground, dude.
During Cosmic's GDQ run, he actually set up his estimate for I think it was 2 hours and 18 minutes, and his time ended up being 1 hour and 36. And it's mainly because he was factoring in his own PC's load time, and then comparing that to like the GPU supercomputers. It's like, oh, that's like quite a bit of time I just save off of that.
Yeah, it was like, not only was it the Devil Hunter, they gave me the full like Devil Hunter incentive estimate, but it was like their loads there were like 10, 12 minutes faster than mine at home. So coupled with like all this other stuff on top of each other, it was like boom, tons of time save, and I was like, oh, okay.
That was RTA world record at the time, right?
That's true, it was, yeah. Also, that
was a very... Oh, I'm sorry, go
that
ahead.
was the last time we're going to see V in the run, by the way, so everybody wave goodbye to V. I know Waifu's like,
Well,
goodbye.
I'm distraught.
Yeah, you're so distraught, I know. You're just...
Sad Naruto music.
Wah,
Yeah,
wah,
sad
wah.
So I was going to say, that was the most Willem Dafoe Spider-Man that I've ever heard out of anyone Cosmic, so congrats on that. As well as we have 2 donations that came in, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
We've got a $5.03 from Saravium that says need to fix that number, and she did. Only to have Deagle right behind her, Desert Eagle 417 with $1.01.
Oh, no.
With the comment, fixed it, Max.
Oh.
Thanks, Deags. Appreciate you, bruh.
Smile. So, now we're going to fight this boss called Malphus. She's a giant chicken lady. So, Devil May Cry 3 has Chicken Bear. This game has Chicken Lady. KFC endorsements are just coming in the mail by the truckload. And, there's these wheelie boys here. We're also going to get introduced to the Cleveland Browns defensive line after we fight this guy right here. Hold on. He's being finicky. Give him a second. He'll figure it out. There we go. So these Angelos here, they're kind of in the way. And so instead of fighting them, because you're not locked into a fight with them, we're just going to run past them. And the reason that I call it the Cleveland Browns defensive line is because at some point I was running this game, and I checked my clips afterwards to see what people had clipped, and someone had just made a clip that just said that. And ever since then, I've just stolen that meme from them, unabashedly and shamelessly. So
do you remember
High
who it
content
was?
now.
I don't remember who it was exactly. I'd have to go back through and look. But shout outs to that person. You probably know who you are. Hopefully you're still around. Much love, you know, even though I can't remember your name. So this behemoth here, we have this Buster arm here. And this resembles Nero's arm from Devil May Cry 4. It allows us to do these crazy grabs on demons and do tons of damage in addition to that. So we're actually going to take these guys to the cleaners, give them a slam dunk. We're going to get introduced to the Harlem Globetrotters, part of the run. Bam.
Just dunking on fools all day.
They call me LeBron. Boom. The Judecca here as well is going to get dunked. What's up?
Sorry, I was gonna say LeBron Boom is his long lost cousin that we don't know about. Or
Maybe. Maybe. LeBron may cry.
LeBron has cried.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That's true.
We also have a $1.99 donation real quick from Sarah Avium that says, "Darn it, Deagle." I just wanted to get that out there before.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so, okay. Malphus, the giant chicken lady. She's pretty aggressive. We want to plant 3 overture bombs on her as well, but if we get hit while we're doing that and we've planted overture bombs on her, then a cutscene will play where V is going to throw an item down to us. He's going to throw a ragtime, which is the slowing mechanic that Nero has. But we don't want that to pop up because that will mean that all of our overture bombs will disappear. Also, we're going to take this guy out. This guy's going to get taken to dust. Bye-bye. Okay. Now that I've done my showboating, we're going to get into the fight. So we want to plant 3 overture bombs on her. And then we just want to shoot her like we did the boss on Mission 1. And that will cause her to get knocked down. And then we're just going to kill her from there. So let's hope it goes well. Fingers crossed, everybody.
Get in my way and I'll crush you.
You gonna take an intentional hit at the beginning?
Nah, we're just going for it, dude. We're just going for it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so if he gets hit here, then all of his DPS for this fight will totally disappear. So he has to be very careful that he get hit after he plants these overtures. That chicken's fried, for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh, that's good.
Bam. Boss dead.
Very clean.
She teleported away, and then I thought that I didn't see any more visuals for the bombs, and I was like, don't tell me. But it's all good. So, alright, this is like this is the last really, really big buy of the game for Dante. And we're gonna play most of the way through the game with Dante. This is gonna be where we're gonna grab level 4 for Gunslinger, which is gonna allow us to use a move called Red Hot Night. Basically, Dante goes into its high noon mode and just drops meteors on enemies. It's a good time. Well, for us anyway, it's a good time. And we're gonna also fight
when he's really
angry.
Really dropping the credit card. that's what he's doing. Snuck into his mom's room, yoinked the credit card real quick. He's about to make some microtransactions to win the game.
Mom, I need a TB and TMC for him.
Yeah. So here's the meteor here. It's high noon. Oh yeah, you thought those enemies stood a chance? Nah. No, not for the power of the hat, dude. And
I just love how many Dante's moves are just so overpowered to just like him dancing.
yeah, this character in this game, like, they just gave him every tool in the book and then some. Like, did he really need a meteor move? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, like when you think about it, it's not like any of his options are bad. Right, like Real Impact was still insta-killing like every enemy in the game already, and then it's like, okay, then you get Sin DT, and then we get the Faust Hat before we even get to use Sin DT, basically, and it's like it just like stacks like so hard.
And there's another one there. I should also note that like in early versions of this route, we were using SDT a lot or Sin DT a lot. And we were using it to clear a lot of these rooms. I ended up making the run even funnier by just routing in a bunch of Faust in place of SDT. Let me see if we can actually get this
like
off.
you save up so much money from the early game that you could just like afford to just dump money on the last few levels.
There we go. That enemy was called the Fury. We're never gonna see him again. We just didn't want to fight him. He teleports around. He's an assassin boy. We're just not interested in playing his game, so we're just gonna.
You already have to deal with enough weebs in this run.
That's true. Yeah, we don't need any
teleporting ninjas.
Nothing personal, kid.
Teleporting isn't a great power when the entire organization is showered with meteors.
All right, there we go.
It's also like really cool to note that like Dante just has such an insane arsenal. Like each of his weapons has like these really unique like special properties that I haven't even seen in like any game before. Like Cosmic earlier explained how the motorcycle can rev up its attacks and stuff, and the gauntlets have ignition, and you know, the hat allows you to like use orbs as a weapon, or you can also plant the hat on enemies and beat them up to get more orbs. But we also got Devil Sword Dante, which is probably like the most versatile weapon in the whole game. Originally, like a lot of style players didn't like it that much, but it turns out it actually has these spectral swords that do different things depending on what style you're in. It's really interesting. It's like if you're in Gunslinger, they'll like fly around you and protect you. If they're in Swordmaster, they'll do extra hits and like stuff like that. It's really cool. It's not very like super useful in like the run, but just like the insane amount of depth that's going on with the character is crazy.
Absolutely. This is Cerberus, by the way, except it's King Cerberus. So he's got 3 forms. He's not just lightning, or he's not just ice. He's got lightning and fire too. So here I'm going to try and go into STT, and I want to try and land some real impacts after landing a bunch of swings with STT. So hopefully this will go all right.
This is the new and improved Zoomer version. He's got the sick beats, the remix.
I'm guessing not many people saw the easy automatic combat afterwards.
Not on this one. I think it's a little late in the game for that one.
That's unfortunate.
Cerberus is one of the few things in the game that actually does have some RNG as well. It's not 100% consistent to get a fast kill. One of the unfortunate things about this run is a lot of the RNG is actually like way in late game. Like if you get a fast Cerberus kill, some of the final boss fights have some randomness involved, unfortunately.
Oh boy. Okay. That's fine. So that second real impact, if it had connected, I just needed to move forward a little bit more to do it, but it's all good.
Yeah, I think really the only big RNG is Artemis at the very beginning. That's like the only one I can think of in the first few missions.
Yeah. And
You got a quick second for a couple more donations?
go for it, because I'm just going to like real impact this dude. I'm just going to uppercut him. So go for it.
Oh, sure, you can all the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%? Gotcha. Dude, like my strategy for, you know, daily life. So we have a $1.32 donation from Desert Eagle 417. I know Waifu mentioned special unique abilities earlier. Desert Eagle has a special unique ability for tipping me off with these donations. So he said, I didn't do nothing, only for a $45.68 donation from Tierra Lore that says, hi, thank you all for all of the amazing work that you're doing, which has now brought us to a grand total of $4,100 for the marathon so far.
That's super awesome.
Thank you so much.
Right now, Cosmic is illustrating the difference between a 5'10" and a 6 foot man. He's gonna punch him in the shins and bring him back down to his level.
That was the last fight actually with Urizen. And so spoilers, cover your ears if you haven't played the game. But who is that? Oh, that's Dante's brother Virgil again. V is actually the human half of Dante's brother Virgil. And now they fuse. So to explain it in Kingdom Hearts terms, V is Virgil's nobody. And Urizen is Virgil's heartless. So they have fused back together into Virgil. So now we have to defeat V's summons as Dante and then go and fight Virgil. And yes, I'm sure it was worse. So we're just gonna drop the orbs on Griffin here. No quarter.
Let's hit him with Mom's credit card real fast. Excuse me, gotta go. Speedrunner coming
Mom
through.
said it's my turn to put points on the Xbox Live account. And the same thing is really going to happen here a couple of times until we get to Nightmare. So if you got a couple more donations that maybe don't tick you off, go for it.
Good luck with these ending numbers. But what I was going to say is that we just got free from Google $11.14 to make it a palindrome 41114 41111 fixed. Okay, sorry, I can count.
Nice.
I know I can. So thank you, Deagle, for doing that. I appreciate it. The message was, "How's this, Max?" It is okay. It'll do.
It'll do.
So-
That'll do, pig. That'll do. So Nightmare here. Go for it, Demonic.
Oh, I was going to say that it kind of a fun fact. He did the fight earlier, the kind of phase 1 of Griffin. There's actually a way to skip that by using Chevalier and Devil Trigger to just gain an insane amount of height. But because of the Faust Hat, you can basically just get through way quicker than it's needed.
So here, Nightmare is actually operating on a timer. And if the timer expires, he's going to disappear. So I just have to deal this insane amount of damage to him with Cavalier in a set amount of time.
Look at that bike. Eat him.
The bike, dude. This is the power of the
I think
overtop
that's
gear,
why
by the way.
he might be.
And there we
He has another motorcycle ability.
So that's Nightmare. No phase, or phase skip, I should say. No second phase. And this is actually a pretty big instance of RNG coming up here. There's only 2 missions left, and they're really, really quick. So, next couple of minutes, people get ready on the timer. We got to fight Dante's brother, Virgil. We're just going to drop a nuke on him, basically.
We're gonna hit him with the pay to win real quick. Dump the last of our funds. Mom's credit card's about to get overdrafted.
Let's try it right here. I don't think this is going to work. Yep, okay. I thought so. It's fine. Let's go again. We go again.
We go. I'm gonna try Dad's card.
This meteor can charge up to 3 different levels. We're charging it up to the last level. I hope he doesn't freaking teleport, dude. No, he did not. Excellent. And that's the boss. He's just done. And so here's the last mission. Nero gets his devil trigger. So he can power up as well. His arm grows back. Now he has to fight his dad. Spoilers, Virgil is his dad. He's also going to be a little bit rude to his dad, too, I gotta say. So get ready on time.
Banger alert, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And time. And that is Devil May Cry 5. GG.
Wow.
Very
That was a good
good.
run.
What was the RT on that?
Claps in chat.
Sub 130.
Sub 130. Good shit. Okay, awesome.
You cut off your own
Looks like from what I can see,
still lost.
I know that our tech dudes were on it for sure. 129.47.
Excellent. Awesome.
Taking over.
That was a really good run. Awesome job, dude.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So, yeah, my name is DECosmic again, Demonic Robots and Waifu. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this run. If anybody wants to run this game, I'm going to be working on a tutorial for it soon. I didn't want to work on it until more of the route was ironed out. First couple, you know, the growing pains of the first year or two of a new speed game is always interesting. But if you have any questions, there are primers out there on speedrun.com, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions, obviously, and help people get started. This run is pretty much like my baby, and this game is my absolute favorite of all time, and I love running it. So thank you, Chad and Max and everybody else that's involved with the event for inviting me. It's been awesome.
Routes from the underworld itself. Then we'll seal the portal with the Yamato.
That was awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
thank
it.
you.
Do that, you can't come back.
Thank you guys again for showing off this amazing game, of course, and the amazing franchise in general. I'm hoping this gets a lot more people into the franchise and into the games. I can tell you right now, when I was younger and played some of the earlier Devil May Cry games, I was like, okay, well, I'm probably never gonna play this again because I can't beat anything. So, and now I'm more than interested in trying to play all of these games again. and having some fun with it and everything else. So thank y'all, of course, from everyone here at Thunderthon. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. See y'all.
Take care, Nero. Adios.
Are we out? No.